Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall and Michael Reed. We are joined by returning guest, producer of the Sports Junkies on 106.7 The Fan, Mr. Matt Valdez. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, sir. And we thought, who else would be better to be able to look into this game on Saturday than the guy who's a Ravens fan, but also works for 106.7, is around the Washington football team constantly, than you, Matt. So my first question to you, what do you expect with the starters with Baltimore and Washington football team? Do you expect them to play at all, and for how long?
Well, John's been keeping it kind of coy leading up to the game. I do know that they just released the third string quarterback who they signed, who went to like Calvert Hall, Kenji. Well, I don't forget his last name, but he's kind of a local guy. So they're basically only having two quarterbacks. So there's kind of some hope from fans that Lamar's going to play. But I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. If you saw their last game against Carolina, Huntley, their number two, since Trace went down, took every single snap except for two at the end. So I can see where Huntley may take every single snap. The thing is, every fan wants to see Lamar play, and everybody always says, well, you just want some guy to get into the rhythm. You just want to see him complete some passes out there, just get knocked around a little bit. But the problem is that the Ravens' offensive line has been an injury unit, walking infirmary. And I don't know if John and the offense kind of want to put them behind kind of a makeshift line where they have people playing in different positions. So I'm hopeful that he'll get a series or two, but I would expect Huntley to play all four quarters.
Right. Yeah. This year it's pretty tricky with only the 3 preseason games. I mean, usually the third preseason game, as we know, that's where their starters play a majority of the snaps.
Yeah. Well, think about it. You know, Lamar came off the COVID list, so who knows what his endurance is like? Who knows if he's in game shape? And 2 weeks leading up to week 1, I don't know if you necessarily want to put him at risk, I guess you could say, in a preseason game.
Right.
And, plus he's not going to have any of his weapons on the outside because I believe Boykin's not going to play. Watkins isn't going to play. Bateman's already on the temporary IR. And Hollywood Brown's probably not going to play. So you're kind of just leaving them out there. And I don't think John's into doing that.
Right. Well, I mean, you kind of brought it up, Rashad Bateman. That was going to be my next question. Rashad Bateman was Kyle's favorite wide receiver in this draft. Isn't that right, Kyle? No, Kyle was actually Kyle was not a big Rashad Bateman guy.
Kyle has good tastes.
He wasn't a big Rashad Bateman guy. Me and Hall are the ones with good taste. We like.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that you knew that, by the way.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure. I couldn't. I will never let it go. No. So what is going on with Rashad Bateman? I know that he's been kind of in and out of the lineup. I know that he's dealing with an injury, right?
Yeah, he tweaked his groin.
Okay.
They took him in for kind of like a microscopic surgery, which is kind of scary. Although the time to come back is supposed to be probably 6 weeks, and this was probably 3 weeks ago. But I probably wouldn't expect to see him on the field till the end of September until he's fully healed. But end of September, he should be in the lineup. He shouldn't miss the entire year. But that's always kind of scary for a wide receiver, especially a rookie wide receiver dealing with a groin injury heading into the season. You don't know how fast he's going to be. You don't know what his conditioning is going to be like and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, 100% agree. And as you know, Curtis Samuel's dealing with a groin, so we know about that all too well. And speaking of bigger stories,
what stinks about it is that he was going to be kind of like that possession guy.
Yeah.
And the Ravens have really struggled finding that possession guy over the past couple seasons. They have Hollywood who can stretch the field, but they really don't have that guy who's kind of sure-handed, who is willing to do a dig route over the middle, who can run clean routes and get that 10 yards, kind of a la Anquan Bolden during the Ravens Super Bowl run.
Right. And that kind of leads me into my next question, where there's been a lot of talk lately about, has the league kind of figured Lamar Jackson out? Have they figured this offense out? And obviously they've added Sammy Watkins, like you said, Rashad Bateman. They added some weapons around him. So do you think that the league has figured out Lamar Jackson, or will they figure out this offense and Lamar Jackson?
Well, it's funny. It's funny that question comes up. Lamar's a very, very polarizing player.
Right.
And I think it's just because it's not the typical mold that everyone kind of expects from teams around the NFL. Should they be passing more? Maybe on first downs, but I'm not adverse to running the ball 30 times a game. I mean, it's successful. Yeah. And it just seems like every single achievement that Lamar has, that the goalposts all of a sudden get reset on the organization and on Lamar. First coming out of college, it was, well, he can't throw. And then he improved his mechanics. He got a lot better at it. He probably still needs to improve a little more to become an elite passer. But we're in a day and age where quarterbacks aren't necessarily the be all end all is throwing the ball. Right. It's finding time in the pocket, it's running, and it's a little different. And so I think it's kind of scary to some people, and they kind of want him to be in that cute, true quarterback fashion where they sit in the pocket and sling it 50 times a game. Look, I know some people want him to throw it 40 times a game, but as a Ravens fan, I'm going to tell you, at any team in the league, if they're throwing it 40 times a game, they're probably not going to win the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I just, they look at the passing statistics and stuff like that, and they see how it was 25th in the league last year, or around there. But I understand that can be improved a little bit, but nobody talks about how the team was first in rushing.
Right.
There's a trade-off. There's only X amount of plays the offense can run per game.
Right.
And if you're going to spend the 60% of them throwing, with what the organization has done and with the kind of offense they've installed, it's going to be unsuccessful.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's one player on the Washington football team by the name of Torrey McTyer, Matt, that has really come about and really made a name for himself in a short amount of time here. He's a fan favorite. He's on the lower end of the depth chart fighting for a spot. Is there a player that you are looking forward to seeing on Saturday? It's on the lower end of the depth chart, but maybe a fan favorite and is a good matchup versus the Washington football team on Saturday?
There's actually a guy that you should keep your eyes on, and that is Jake Verity. And you're probably saying, who the heck is Jake Verity?
Kicker,
and that's
right?
That's their backup kicker. And
keep an eye on him.
And I know Washington has had their struggles with the special teams unit, specifically with kicking. And the Ravens are just a factory with producing kickers. Last year they kind of fleeced the Minnesota Vikings for a 5th round pick with their backup kicker coming out of their training camp, which they turned into a trade for Ngakoue on the end. But so if you guys are in the market for a kicker, if Dustin Hopkins struggles in this matchup, and you really want to see them move on, I would keep an eye on Jake Verity. It's not a very sexy pick. Also, a guy that's kind of slid under the radar is their 5th round draft pick, Reyes. He's a Sam linebacker from Notre Dame. And you think with a Sam linebacker, you're not really going to see much pass rush, but he has a knack for getting to the quarterback. He's got a great bull rush, and he might be a diamond in the rough that the Ravens found in the 5th round, which, by the way, they got on a conditional pick for the Ngakoue pick that they picked up after letting them go after the trade for the 5th round pick for the kicker.
Right.
So
it's interesting.
Let me ask, did you have that answer prepared, Valdez?
I did not.
Okay.
So it's interesting that you bring up 5th round picks, because Eric DeCosta seems to be a master when it comes to 5th round picks. Let's see. He traded a 5th round pick for big boy who talks like Sesame Street character. Why can't I remember his name? Calais Campbell and Marcus Peters. There's also a 5th round pick for Marcus Peters. Yet he trades Vedvik, however you pronounce it, and Sean Wade today for a 5th round pick as well. So it seems like he has very good success there. What was the deal with Sean Wade? Sean Wade was a very big name in college. I know. Was it really between him and Ardarius Washington, and he was just more flexible, or what?
Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, if you've been watching any of the Ravens preseason games, their secondary has really shown out. It's become a pretty big strength for the team. And then I've actually had talking with my insiders over at the castle in Owens Mills, that Wade's been kind of a malcontent, and they haven't been happy with him in the locker room, and he wasn't going to get much time, so they just shipped him off and got whatever they could for him from New England. So John likes to keep the locker room very happy. He's one of those players coaches, and if there's any kind of person who's going to rock the boat, he's not going to have it. And so I think Sean Wade was kind of a casualty of being a little upset in the locker room, not necessarily getting what he wants. Now he's a great player on the field. He's done amazing, especially in that Carolina game. He's looked really great, but they're deep enough in the cornerback and in their secondary. So I'm not opposed to them shipping them off. And plus, it's not like we'll see New England in the playoffs. Right. So it's okay with me.
They sent him off to boarding school with old Coach Bill up there.
Yeah. He'll get his button gear.
Yeah. 100%. So kind of looking forward into the season. Obviously the offense with Lamar, like I said, he added the weapons before. We have pretty stout defense on the other side of the ball. Who do you think is going to be either side of the ball? Who do you think will be the breakout player for the Ravens this year?
I think well, it's weird that you say that. So going into training camp with the loss of Ngakoue and the loss of Matt Judon, who signed with the Patriots, there was a lot of questions about the Ravens' defensive line. There was people didn't know how they were going to get to the passer, even though, Wink likes to blitz the most in the league out of all defensive coordinators. But their draft pick, Owe, out of Penn State, seems to be kind of a raw, physical defensive end. So I'm really excited to see him on pass rushing downs. And then a lot of people, and I believe this last time that we talked on the podcast is when we talked about Patrick Queen.
Yep.
We talked about how he got exposed in pass coverage. Well, he's looking to have a great sophomore season. He changed his number. I don't know if that does anything to him and his confidence, but if you look at him, it looks like he put on probably 15 pounds of muscle. You'll see it if he starts and if he plays in the preseason game. The guy looks like a beast now. He looks quicker. He looks like he knows where he's going, where he's hitting the holes. I'm very excited for him. I'm very excited for Malik Harrison, who was their third round pick last year out of Ohio State. He's looking really good in preseason, and both of them are going to have to step up with the injury of LJ Ford, who is a veteran linebacker who's going to be out for the season.
Right. Maybe they should change Patrick Queen's last name to Patrick King, right, guy? I'm out. I'm sorry.
and Matt, because I want to take this off of the field, subjectively, you being a Ravens fan in the area, you working for 106.7 as a producer for the Junkies, you're around this football team a lot for many years. Subjectively, how far has the Washington football team come in one season under the new coaching staff, under Jason Wright and president, with Julie Donaldson running the media team? How far have you seen this team come from all the other years?
Well, Washington fans should be very excited because the team are making great steps to becoming one of those organizations that kind of just do everything right. And, there's a lot of talk about cuts and who they should cut, who should they keep. And you know what? That's a great problem to have. Yeah. Did you really have that problem in the past where you have all of this abundance of talent and then all of a sudden people are debating who should be on the team, who should be let go? Is Jared Patterson going to make the team? When a team has tough decisions like this coming up to final cut day, that's a great mark of that the organization is doing things correctly. Right. And even though it's a tough decision, it's a good problem to have. Mm-hmm. Now, after the free agency period, I was probably one of the first people who was high on the Washington football team just by connecting the dots, mm-hmm. just by they made improvements here. They did this last year. The division doesn't seem to be making that big of strides, or at least not matching what Washington's doing. I mean, you went out, you got a top flight cornerback. You addressed the big elephant in the room in your quarterback. You've added so much speed to the outside that Washington fans should be very excited. And it's not like you guys are playing in the NFC West. It's not a cutthroat division. Philly's going to Philly. There's questions about Daniel Jones. Dak is maybe still injured, and everyone wants to talk about how they address their defense. Well, they address their defense by adding 4 draft picks who have no idea if they're going to hit or not. And Washington addressed the problems that they had through free agency, through legitimate people, through players that have a proven track record. So I don't understand why there's a lot of people who just can't see the linear progression that the team is having. And I did a buy low, sell high. And, it seems like a lot of people saw the trend that I did and now are jumping on the bandwagon along with me.
You are the man, Valdez.
Yeah. There you go. So let's move back to the game a little bit this coming up. You guys are a perennial playoff team. You guys are a possible Super Bowl contender. You guys are very deep at a lot of positions. What position battles are you kind of looking forward to the most in this final preseason game?
Well, it's great that the position battles come down to a third string running back,
right?
but that's kind of what the Ravens are looking at, because Justice Hill has been their third string running back, and they rotate them out in and out. Tyson Williams has really come on in the preseason. You'll probably see a lot of him on Saturday. So there's a huge battle with the third string running back, and also trying to figure out the line, because if there's going to be movement around the line, if there's going to be injuries like this preseason has shown for Baltimore, shuffling people in and out, can McCary play guard? Can McCary play center? Are they going to go with Cologne, who's been an undrafted free agent, who's played very well in this preseason? So it's kind of those battles that the Ravens have, and that's what good organizations have.
Yeah.
They have their first strings already set. They have their backups probably already set, and now you're just trying to find those pieces that you're filling in.
Right. Yeah, definitely agree. And this is kind of like another kind of backup position question. What's going to happen to Lurch's boy, Trace McSorley? I know he's injured right now, but do you see him making the practice squad, or do you think he's going to move on to another and find another landing spot?
I think he'll make the practice squad, just because, I don't think very many teams will want to scoop up a player who just came off an injury. And plus, if you're scrounging the practice squads for quarterbacks, you're probably in a heap of trouble anyways. And so he'll probably just make it through. He'll probably hit the practice squad. But what I've noticed lately, over the past couple years, is that Lamar and Huntley have really had a bond together. And I don't necessarily see that bond that Lamar and Trace have. Maybe they do. I mean, I don't know. I'm not back there, and I'm not in their meetings or anything like that. But, it's very visible on the sidelines. And, you'll see it on the sideline that Lamar's talking to and encouraging Huntley and stuff like that. And you didn't really see that the way that it was with McSorley. So that's why I always thought Huntley had the inside track before McSorley's injury. And so that's why I think, at the end of the day, if McSorley even wasn't injured, that he would probably move to the practice squad.
That makes sense. And now to wrap this up, Valdez, I have a two-part question for you. The second part I'll answer after you answer the first part. But the first part, one player that you would take from Washington and put onto the Baltimores, and one player vice versa.
That's a great question. I guess the obvious answer would be Chase. But I will go with the not obvious question or answer, and I will say Terry McLaurin. Yep. The Ravens are in a desperate need for a wide receiver, and a breakout receiver like that, who's big, who makes tough catches, who gets yards after the catch, would really, really ignite the offense. The easy answer for you guys would be Lamar. But after that, just based off the preseason, I think you guys are really going to have these. It's either going to be a defensive struggle or a shootout. I don't think there's going to be much in between with your games this season. And just having such a reliable kicker like Justin Tucker, that's the difference. That's the difference right. between a wild card spot and winning the division. That's the difference between advancing in the playoffs and not. It's just having a kicker who it's going to be automatic, who has ice in their veins. And so I think that would be a huge get for Washington, especially if you're playing these defensive
got to get the sure points every time.
Yeah. I also would have went with Ronnie Stanley, just because I'm fine with Charles Leno. I think our offensive line's great, but Ronnie Stanley's so good when he's healthy.
Yeah, I believe he in over 300 snaps in his career, he hasn't let up a sack.
Oh, wow, that's impressive. And my last one for you, this is a fantasy football question. I was all over Mark Ingram when Lamar came into the league, and they tore it up together, and he really did well in fantasy. I'm expecting a similar type of performance from J.K. Dobbins this season. So for you personally, as a Ravens fan, what do you think that J.K. Dobbins is going to do in fantasy this season?
I think he's gonna. If you're playing in PPR, I think he's going to be a nice addition. I think they're really trying to get him the ball in the air a lot. The Ravens are not a very good screen team, but JK's been working on his routes. But I'm more of a Gus Bus kind of guy because I like the way that he just runs straight through, that he runs straight through the hole. I mean, he averages over 5 yards to carry in his career. I mean, that's the type of production that you can't just bat an eye at. And plus, he's the 4-minute guy. And what I mean by that is when the Ravens go in 4-minute mode in the fourth quarter, when they're up by 6, tired with the Gus Bus, and that's where he breaks off those big chunks. So I'm actually more of a big Gus Edwards guy than JK. But this is JK should have fresh legs. They didn't really use him last year. Yeah. So I'm just by the running game, it should be explosive. But there's no hate in having running back by committee.
Yeah.
Especially unless you're playing fantasy.
Valdez, that was a very educated answer that I would expect from a very, very knowledgeable fan. I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight, Matt, coming back on and being able to talk some ball with us to preview this game on Saturday. If you could, just want to plug your Twitter handle where people can find you.
Sure. You can reach me on Twitter at Matt_Valdez. If you have any Ravens questions, I'll be sure to answer. And you didn't comment on my Lamar jersey. Hold on, let me flex. It's the signed one too.
What?
Oh,
fire!
There you go.
Did
I
Lurch,
like it.
Did Lurch hook you with that?
No. My insider at the castle on Lamar's MVP season. That preseason, he got me a jersey and he got it signed by him. And it's a huge flex when I wear it in M&T Bank Stadium and everyone goes, "You're wearing a signed jersey?" I go, "Yep."
Hey, you got to flex when you can.
All right, Valdez, you have a good night, sir. I can't thank you enough. Until next time, wish you best of luck, sir.
Yes.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, man.
We'll see you.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we just spoke with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Matt Valdez, the producer for 106.7's The Fans, the Junkies.
He's always known as such a hysterical and like a funny guy, and I guess it's because he's also on a Washington sports station, but people don't realize how much this guy knows about football just in general. Like, especially when it comes down to the Ravens, he knows everything about the
Pretty
Ravens.
sure there was like they had a contest of like who's like the biggest like Ravens insider, and he like won by like a mile. So it would make sense that he comes on and just drops knowledge about the Ravens every time.
Yeah, I remember that. They brought in like actual
Ravens. Yeah.
That was crazy. And he beat him out. You're absolutely right about that. I know I have to make up a lot to you guys because we weren't able to get into the questions on Tuesday's show. So we have all of those questions I'm going to talk about today. But before I do so, I have a promise I need to fulfill. And that is to our guy, Florida Skins fan Sean. I wanted to do this correctly and the right way to get the information out. He has two friends, James and Lindsay, who have a 5-year-old son named Dallas, who was diagnosed with TBCK, which is a neurogenetic disorder. There's only 35 to 40 cases worldwide. It's an autosomal recessive disorder, which means it comes from genetic mutations from the parents, both sides. So they had to hire a home physical therapist. There's a whole lot of money going into this, and Sean doesn't know their money situation, but he would like to help out, if not with them, for other people out there. So Sean has started a GoFundMe for them and also gave me the link for CBTK to find out more, TBCK, find out more about the disease and the disorder for other people out there. So if you'd like to contribute and go with the charity, please let us know or reach out to Florida Skins fan Sean. Make sure you do that, guys. It's for a great cause. It's a really good thing to do. Now,
and for Sean, he's the man.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Especially his 5-year-old Dallas, man. That kills me, dude. That's terrible. I couldn't imagine.
Oh my God.
But let's get back into our fan questions. And the first one we're going to start with is the Colonel. And he wants to know, I'll start with you, Hall, because you are the running back boy. Has Jarrett Patterson, is his emergence reshaped the running back room? And how has he done it? And who's going to see the door?
That is a good question. This has been the big debate. Are they going to keep 3 running backs and let Barber walk, or I guess they can stash him on the practice squad if they really could, if he walks through the practice squad, or they're going to keep all 4 guys and Jared Patterson is going to, I guess he'll be active on game days. He might get a couple plays here and there, and then Peyton Barber stays in his role as that kind of short yardage guy. I think that based off of last week where they were kind of struggling to get short yardage with when they were had the short yardage situations against Cincinnati, I think that kind of cemented that Peyton Barber is kind of here to stay. Look, the dude has one job. He does it well. I think I heard a stat that EB dropped the other day that out of 80 career games that Peyton Barber's played in, or out of 80 career games that he's been eligible for, he's played in 79. So clearly he's doing something right when he's getting on the field and he's doing his job well. So I do think that it's reshaped it, but I think it's reshaped it as far as they're just going to add Patterson in instead of practice squadded him, because obviously if you put him on the practice squad, he's not going to clear waivers.
No, not at all. And yes, I do think that Jared Patterson has reshaped the running back room. We saw that with the release of Lamar Miller because they were looking for that extra guy that could carry the weight in case of an crazy emergency. And Jared Patterson obviously was given an opportunity, he made the most with it. He's impressed so far. There's been times where Ron Rivera has personally, independently gone over and watched Jared Patterson work in practice in running back drills. He is really enticed with this guy, and for good reason. He has the right attitude. He runs hard. He can catch the football really well. We've seen that multiple times. So, yes, he has. Now, who's going to be on the way out? I truly believe that Peyton Barber still has a job on this team. And that short yardage situation, that 4th and inches that AG didn't pick up, I think is going to sit in the back of mind of Ron Rivera. And there's going to be some really tough decisions to be made because are they going to keep Peyton Barber on the 53 or are they going to try to practice squad him? Because Jared Patterson, to Hall's point, did earn himself a spot on the 53, to be perfectly honest with you. What about you, Reed?
Yeah. There's no question Jared Patterson's made the 53-man roster. It's not only with just his play on the field, but then the fact that he goes out. The one time he has a kick return, it's a 37-yard kick return,
right,
35-yard kick return. So, I mean, he just cemented it. But that, like Hall said, that's a tough one. Like, that's the question right now. Is it going to be 3 running backs? Is it going to be 4? But I'm kind of with you, Kyle. I think that Ron Rivera really does see that Peyton Barber really does offer a very specific role to this offense. Right. And I do think that he will end up keeping him ultimately because you're right, that short yardage. Gibson's not there. He's not that back right now. And to have a specialist like that, I think is huge.
I think Jared Patterson can be that guy.
I do too.
I'm just not going to come out and say right now because I haven't seen enough. Maybe we will on Saturday.
Maybe by week 3, week 4, they'll say Jared Patterson is that guy, And
that was going to be my point where I think on this game, I think if they get to a lot of short yardage situations like 4th and 1s, maybe 4th and 2s, 4th and inches, I think Ron's going to go for it every single time to kind of see okay, who's going to be my guy? Do we need to keep 3? Do we need to keep 4?
Right.
Yeah, you guys had to flex on me earlier. Remember, Scott Harley asked us about a month ago who our unsung hero of the season could be. I picked Jared Patterson, and for good reason. I really do think that he can contribute greatly to this team. Now, the Colonel's next question, what is your alarm level over the first team offense's lack of production, Reed?
I'm not alarmed. Like we talked about, I think we talked about it a little bit on Tuesday. Like, if you just compare this offense, even though I know this offense is struggling right now to some people because they haven't scored, they're still night and day from last year. I mean, they're throwing the ball down the field. They look completely different. I'm really not nervous about it. I'd say give Ryan Fitzpatrick a full 4 quarters, and this team's going to end up putting up some points. I think that they will just about every week. And yes, Fitzpatrick is going to be up. He's going to be down. Washington Twitter is going to be very fun this season to watch them on game day. With what Fitzpatrick does. But I'm really crazy. But then at the same time, then they'll turn around and love Fitzpatrick 2 seconds later. But I'm really not that worried about it. I really don't. I'm not as worried as everybody else seems to be.
I'm about at a 4 or 5 with the offense. Obviously, they still have to gel, and that cohesion has to come about. But one of the most alarming things to me was Adam Humphries and Ryan Fitzpatrick not being on the same page. That was concerning because if there's one positive that they bring together, it's that they've worked together in the past and they have that relationship. That was not evident against the Bengals. So hopefully we're probably not going to see Ryan, but that's one thing that brought my alarm. Now, I was able to rewatch the first team offense, go up and watch until a little bit over halftime. The offensive line was okay. And there were times where they made really, really good plays, and then they would make a terrible play, one guy here or there. It was almost every single offensive lineman had a great play, but also had a very bad play. It just happened. They're going to grow together. That's why I'm at like 4 or 5. They'll continue to grow. They'll get better. I would be more alarmed if they just kept whooping everyone's butts and they felt like they were better than they were. Right. The fact that they went through this game, they got humbled a little bit, then they're going to come in hardcore, ready to go for their time. If not this Saturday, week 1.
Yeah, real fast, I should clarify. I'm not worried like, oh, I think we're the best offense in the league. We're a top 5 offense. Like, I'm still right. Like, this offense obviously has to perform, but I think that they will be better than last year. So I'm about where you are, about a 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm like pretty much the same thing. I'm at like a 3 or 4. Like we said on Tuesday, we talked about it a little. Preseason is like not more really about like, oh, we got to score points. We got to put points on the board, because you're not really game planning for the team. You're not really showing your offense. Everything's really vanilla. You're not like different formations, different pre-snap stuff, different motion stuff like that. You're not doing all that. And you pretty much just want to see, does the offense have cohesion? Is the defense flying to the ball? Is everyone tackling well? Obviously, is everyone coming out the game clean with no injuries? So that's pretty much where I'm at with it. Like, obviously, do you want to see them score points? Yes, but like I said, at the end of the day, are they converting on third downs? Are they moving the chains? Are they keeping the clock running? Is the running game looking well? Are they giving up pressures and sacks? And then even when you go back to Fitzpatrick over the last couple of years, even over his whole career, he's been like a rhythm type of quarterback where he gets into a rhythm, whether it's a good rhythm or a bad rhythm. So just coming out there and doing 1 or 2 series is not really going to show what this offense of Fitzpatrick is going to do. You got to let him get into a rhythm, maybe a quarter and a half, 2 quarters in, and then you'll see what the offense is and how they're flowing.
To the contrary, just because it should be brought up, last season, remember, they did bring him in as a closer. And he did really well in that space. Now, our next question is from our guy Ryan on Twitter. Thank you, sir. He wants to know, Hall, do you see Hudson playing time at linebacker going up as the season goes on?
Yeah, if you like look back to last year, he was kind of getting on the field more and more, kind of showing what he,
especially in that wild card game, he played really well.
Exactly. So he kind of showed what he can do, and again, he's a special teams guy, but he's a guy that can play in the box. He's kind of that smaller guy, so he can kind of defend the flats and run with the tight ends and the running backs, stuff like that. So I definitely see him being a piece to this team on this defense, and definitely see him getting some playing time throughout the year.
Yeah, and honestly, it truly depends on with Landon Collins, because I think Khalid Hudson could immediately come in and be in relief of Landon if something were to happen as the kind of blitzer, keeping close to line of scrimmage at kind of weapon X kind of. I know that they've been using him as free safety as well, but if there was an injury, Khalid could come in on passing down situations and be able to replicate that, in my personal opinion. So yes, I do think it's going to grow as the season goes on, but it also depends on our linebackers and how well they perform early on. If they're getting bludgeoned by tight ends and they're not covering gaps and they're getting the ball ran on them, I think coach is probably going to make a decision here or there, move some guys around, and Khalid could easily be a winner of that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much hit the nail on the head with both of those. I mean, the coach, they really, I think that they definitely want to see what Khalid has. They drafted him for a reason. He's still a young guy, and he's got a lot to offer. And I think it, like you said, Kyle, it really depends on the linebackers and the safeties, because the dude can do so much. So we'll see. But yeah, of course, I think he's going to get a lot more time as the season goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Tony Shiver's question for us: if you were Scott Turner, how would you counter to the standout players of Joey Bosa and Derwin James?
You can go first, Reed.
I would try to make sure that I could get the running game going. Obviously, the best thing that you can do is try to freeze both of them with some play action. But they're too smart. They're very smart players. They're both freak athletes. So there's really not much you can do, really, other than I think get a short passing game going, or really get a running game going and hit them with some play action. It's going to be tough though, because those guys are athletic freaks. The good thing is they're both injury prone. So
I would start out the first offensive possession. I would start out with heavy set on the right on Joey Bosa, and I would tell Logan Thomas and Sam Cosby to make sure his back is on the dirt after the play. And just make sure that you are instilling your will, inflicting your will upon Joey Bosa, so he knows what he's in store for the next 60 minutes, and he's not going to be doing what he wants. And so that way, play action, the quick game is going to work easier for you when Joey Bosa's not seeing red, and he's more thinking rather than reacting. So I think hammering him right away would be the easiest thing to do. With Derwin James, I'm not sure there's very much you can do, except for the fact that Ryan Fitzpatrick's veteran ability, the eyes and looking where the receiver is. Derwin's gonna be able to jump that. Ryan Fitzpatrick's veteran ability to know how to trick safeties, I think, is going to be the best way to counter that, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, with Joey Bosa, like you said, you can do multiple things. You can run opposite of him if you're having a run play, just so you can kind of have him trailing on the backside. You can chip him with the running back, with the tight end, and the pass plays. Just like you said, the quick passing game. Um, like I know people don't want to hear this, but the sideline passing game opposite of his side. Like I said, get him on the backside of the play. And like you said, as far as Derwin James, you can't really game plan for a guy like Derwin James.
Flies all around the field.
Flies all over the field. He can line up in the box. He can line up on the back end.
He can rush the passer.
He can rush the passer. He can send him on a blitz.
Right.
He can cover the back. He can cover the tight end. So it's more of a – you can't really – there's not even really like a mismatch that you can put on Derwin James. It's more of like a – you look at him as like a shutdown corner where it's kind of like, all right, figure him out where he's at on the field. Go away from that guy. Don't even like test him. But, again, I think that they can pull it out, and you can't really have any tip balls also around Derwin James because that guy's a ball hawk. He's a guy that's always around the ball, one of those type of players. So if you got any type of tip passes, any high passes on Fitzpatrick, look for Derwin James to capitalize on something like that.
Yeah, and if I'm Scott Turner, if I had to decide which one is going to have more free reign to be able to make a difference against us, I'm taking out Joey Bosa, and I'm going to allow Derwin James to do what he wants. Joey Bosa is the biggest indicator for that winning of the team. Now, I'll stick with you, Hall. Tony wants to know, what's your favorite holiday and why?
Oh, man, that's a good one. I'll probably go I don't know. I guess I'll say Halloween, even though it's not really like a holiday, just because it's the middle of football season.
Of course it's a holiday. What do you mean?
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah, I'll go Halloween because, like I say, it's football season. That's kind of like the fall time. I love hoodie season. It's still kind of like warm, kind of sort of in October, so it's like kind of the perfect weather, that nice fall weather. And I mean, that's really like the only time I really like crush candy is around like Halloween. So get to crush a lot of candy. And then obviously back in the day, like all the Halloween parties and stuff like that was like tight.
Yeah, we know about that. For me, it's Thanksgiving, dude. It's my favorite holiday. You have great food. You have turkey bowl in the morning. You get to play football. Then get home, take a shower, get ready to eat, watch the game come on at noon. You got football all day long with family, friends, great food, and football. I mean, there's nothing more you can do better than that. So Thanksgiving for me.
Yeah, I mean, those are both great. I love the holiday season, but we're just going to keep marching right on down the line, and I'm going to take the obvious number one choice that I can't believe hasn't been said yet, Christmas. I don't care if I'm not 8 anymore. Christmas is still, it's just such a wonderful time of the year, you know?
It is.
Hey, even if I wasn't, even if I celebrated, even like L'chaim, even if I was celebrating, those
Hanukkah?
8 crazy nights, Hanukkah, even if I was celebrating those 8 crazy nights, I would still love it because that time of year is so fun. But a close second for me is January 21st, Little Known Day. It's National Hugging Day. I love a good hug.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Now, our next question is from Cole's Mullet, meaning Cole Holcomb's Mullet. Wants to know,
great name, by the way.
Who has a better chance of being the offensive rookie of the year? Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence? Hall.
I will go with I'll probably go Zach Wilson, which is kind of like people will be like, what? Not Trevor Lawrence, not the generational talent, not the number one pick. But I think that Zach Wilson has a better shot. He has better weapons. Well, I wouldn't say better weapons, but the offense that he's in right now is better suited for him. It's kind of that Kyle Shanahan type of offense where he's going to be a lot of rollouts, a lot of on the move passes, which is Zach Wilson's strength. Actually, you know what? I will say they have better weapons. I think Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, the running back situation that they have,
Jamison Crowder
is a little bit better than what they have down in Jacksonville, who doesn't really have that bad a wide receiver core, and they have James Robinson coming off a 1,000-yard year. But I just think Zach Wilson looks a little bit more crisp. I think he looks a little bit more better. The offense he's in right now suits him a little bit more than Trevor Lawrence.
It's Trevor Lawrence. For me, he has free reign over the offense. He has the escapability aspect. He can run the football, extend the play. That'll do a lot. The one thing that gets miscounted here and is not being brought into the conversation is the offensive mind of Urban Meyer and how he got somebody like Tim Tebow to control the SEC and the national college game for multiple years. If anyone can do it, Urban can do it with Trevor Lawrence. I understand that offensive line's not the best, and they looked putrid the other night. But the good thing is a 17-game season. Once Urban gets into the flow of his offensive scheme and Trevor starts picking up on little things, you're really going to start to see Trevor Lawrence at his best, especially with Urban Meyer calling the plays.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I'm gonna go Trevor Lawrence as well. And look, it's nothing against Zach Wilson, like you said. I think he's in a perfect offense, and the dude is.
One thing I didn't say also, it's the divisions. AFC East is tough. The Buffalo Bills. You got the Miami Dolphins, who could have won the playoffs last year. AFC South is not as difficult. That's why I would see them do Trevor being one.
Yeah, Zach Wilson. He's a very phenomenal talent. They've got some great weapons around him. He's in a very good system that's really going to utilize his strengths. But I just think Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I know obviously that the Jets have some fantastic wide receivers. I think that they're better than the Jaguars. But everybody always, when they talk about the Jaguars, they never talk about how good their weapons actually. They do have. I mean, DJ Shark, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, James Robinson. It sucks. Travis Etienne got injured, but I mean, those are all some pretty good guys. And plus, Trevor Lawrence seems to really be clicking with Marvin Jones, especially. Laviska Shenault, I really expect to have a breakout year. And Urban Meyer's been a quarterback guru his entire life. I mean, you talked about Tim Tebow. He also coached Alex Smith when he went to Ohio State. He had some good. Bring that up, he had some good guys there. But he is in the NFL for the first time, so it's going to be interesting. But I think that he's perfect for this offense. He's mobile. He's got a big arm. He can do a lot of different things. So I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence. However, they're both in very good positions, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's do rapid fire with this one. Mike Puckett wanted to know, how will you feel if we don't make the playoffs and are an under 500 team? What do you feel about them now and in the future, Reed?
I wouldn't be. I know that a lot of Twitter would be pissed. I wouldn't be too mad, just because I think that sometimes that happens. Good teams every once in a while they take a step back. Good to get it out of the way early. Learn how to lose before you learn how to win. And then, hey, we could be in a position to get a long-term quarterback. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah. I'd be pissed. I'd be let down. And I'd be shocked, to be perfectly honest with you, because this is not like the Washington teams of before, where you had a crazy offensive year of production. You made the playoffs, you were feeling high and mighty about it, and the next following year, the offense wasn't there, and you turned to crap. This team is built for the future. They have sustainability in the way that they've been built, and it carries over. That does have momentum the way they're built, with the great defense, with it being bulk heavy in the front end. I love what they have here. I would be distraught if it's under 500. Something crazy bad wouldn't happen, and happened, because it shouldn't. I truly believe that this team, the bottom floor, is making the playoffs. That's it. Anything less than that is a huge failure, in my opinion, for the season. They are built to win.
Yeah, I agree. I would be disappointed just because I think that this is between like a 9 to 10 win team right now, and depending on how the ball shakes, it can even get to 11, which I can't remember. I think it's happened in my lifetime like once, if that. But I would be disappointed. Like you said, we have to have something crazy happen, and they would definitely underachieve and not really hit their goals and show what they're actually capable of. So. Yeah.
And now real fast, what I'm saying, big picture, when it's all said and done, I would be okay with it. But during the season, my TV would be broken 30 times, and I'd be pissed.
Now, our next question is from Wahoo Dad. Your first question about Jarrett Patterson, basically a lot of people have asked that, so I've consolidated it. But I'll do your second one. Do you think Samus Reyes would be a good fit on special teams? That 4-foot vert could really help to block some kicks.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you can teach him really any way that he could contribute to make this roster, especially something like that, something that he has a unique skill set for, with that reach, that vertical, just that size in general, that would be fun to see. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, he would benefit from being there without a doubt. Without a doubt. I'm sure Samus Reyes would be biting at the bit for any opportunity to help this team. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you get experience in playing football is to actually play football, whether it's, like you said, special teams, whether you're on the field, play the skill position. So any way you can contribute, cool. And like you said, with that guy being such an athletic freak, again, if he got to the practice squad or anything like that, might risk him getting snatched up. So if you can get him on special teams and kind of just find a roster spot for him, definitely do it.
Yeah,
could you imagine?
And he wouldn't have to jump on anyone's back to get that too. You know,
could you imagine Samus Reyes pulling a Troy Polamalu and just like jumping over the line? Could you imagine how scary that would be? Seeing somebody like that? Oh my god, that would be
crazy.
Dustin Hopkins would totally miss it then. Now, our next question is from our guy Aki G. He wants to know, and I'll keep this one with you, Hall. Is Jarrett Patterson a good fantasy pickup this season?
I would say no, not right now. Like I wouldn't draft him. Like no one's gonna draft a third or fourth running back on someone's team on a actual real roster.
Correct.
But I would say maybe like an injury to J.D. McKissick, maybe a Peyton Barber injury, even maybe an Antonio like injury here or there. I would definitely say he might be worth a look at, only because he'll get a couple touches here and there. He might be a spark plug type player, but again, if you're down to like the third or fourth running back on the roster type guy to add to your lineup, you're probably already in trouble.
I do think that he'd be a good pickup, not in the draft. Maybe he could be one of those guys at that waiver wire pickup. I always say with my fantasy teams, even though everyone doesn't want to say that I'm the one that came up with this, even though it's freaking true, I did, is that drafting gets you to the playoffs. The waiver wire is what wins you championships of fantasy football. And I feel like Jaret Patterson is that waiver wire pickup you could get midway through the season. It's a 17-game season. It's going to be very, very long. Don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Peyton Barber gets banged up. Maybe it's J.D. McKissick or somebody. And so you're going to need someone to step in. I think Jaret Patterson could definitely be a contributor to your fantasy team if an injury happened later down the line in a waiver wire pickup situation.
Right. And Kyle, if you want to prove that you made up that saying, you just got to show them that your lower back tattoo where it says drafting gets you to the playoffs, playing the waiver wire gets you
Man,
a
they tried
championship.
saying it was Matthew Berry that said it, and I even looked up. He never said that.
Established 2008. You have it written that under that too. So people know, like, but is he worth? Maybe. I mean, hey, maybe in the late rounds, if your roster's already set, like the final round, and you have room, and you want to take a flyer on somebody, maybe go ahead, because you never know. He has looked very electric, and anything can happen. And maybe you just want to roster him, but probably more than likely not. No, but he's definitely somebody maybe you could stash away. Yeah.
Yep. And this is my favorite question by far, and this can be a hard one to answer, but I think we should all work together on this. Orange Crush 92 wants to know, if you had to rank the positional groups, running back, O-line, tight end, wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, safety, and corner, and in order of importance that could contribute the most to the overall success of the football team, how would you rank them? And he did not put quarterback in there because it's a special position. So
Right.
in order of importance in having success as a football team, what is the number one position that it has the most importance?
Outside of quarterback, obviously. In my opinion,
I wrote offensive line. Does anybody agree?
I would put them first or second. It's offensive line or defensive line, in my opinion.
I had them
somewhere
1
in
and
the
2.
trenches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're 1 and 2. I mean, a good pass rush and good pass protection, those are the next best things, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So-
and running the football is the best way to be able to keep the pressure off the quarterback. And what is the two recipes for success in this football team? It's getting to the quarterback and keeping your quarterback clean. So that's why I think offensive line and defensive line are 1 and 2 are perfect for that.
And yeah, generally when you see a team with an offensive line that's ranked very, very high, that team's usually a pretty good team. Like they're usually pretty solid. Like there's no teams with great offensive lines that are bad.
Do you disagree, Hald? Or no offensive line, defensive line for 1 and 2?
Yeah, O-line 1, obviously like the left tackle, and then
Yeah.
D-line 2, like defensive end, So those are the
Yeah.
cornerstones that you start with.
Yep.
Now, for number 3, I put the tight ends as the third most important to the success of a football team.
I would go. You know what? I'll go cornerback because
Where I was gonna go with
honestly,
that
this is
too.
a passing league right now, 2021. Where we're at in football and NFL right now, it's a pass first league. So you got to have a guy that I know. Look, every team has, if not a dominant wide receiver, a legit like number one receiver that
Right.
can pretty much take over a game for the most part. So you got to have that like not even like a lockdown guy. You got to have a guy that's going to be able to go number one, head up, and kind of take that guy out and neutralize him. So I would go cornerback.
Yeah, I would agree with. I was going to go cornerback as well. I think that in today's NFL, if you have a lockdown corner or just a very good group of corners, you can have a lot of success.
Yeah. And one thing I have noticed a lot over the years, the Super Bowl teams generally have a very, very good tight end. And that's why I put that on there. They're asked to do a whole lot with blocking, catching, having to be athletic freaks. And that's why I feel like it pays dividends to have one of those tight ends. I mean, just look at Travis Kelce and the success of the Patriots had with Gronkowski. What would be your fourth? If cornerback is your third, what's your fourth most important?
I guess pass catchers in general.
I went
tight end.
linebacker.
Yeah, I would go pass catch. I just think that those are so important. Like if you have a bad quarterback or an quarterback, he can look good with good receivers. If you don't have good receivers or good tight end, then it's a little bit hard for that quarterback to.
So here, let me make this easier for me, and then we'll do one by one. I have offensive line is the most important, defensive line after that, tight end, linebacker, then cornerback, wide receiver, special teams, safety, and then running back. I think special teams should go higher than that.
I have O-line, D-line, cornerback. I'd probably go linebackers fourth just because offensively, obviously, it's a passing league, but you got to be able to stop the run. You can't stop the run, then you can't stop the pass. And you need some pretty good linebackers to stop the run nowadays. And you like passing running backs, like they're using them in the pass game, so you need a guy that can run with a running back. Fifth, I would go probably wide receivers because, like I said, it's a passing league. You need them guys that can dominate, put points on the board. Six, I would go. I'll go safety 6 because again it's a passing league. You need guys on the back end. You need a guy that can kind of play around in the box. Pause. 7, I'd go special teams, and 8. Actually, no, I'd go 7. I'll go running back because you need a guy that's gonna have be able to again short yardage. You need to establish the run to actually get your offense up and running. And again, in the passing game, running backs are crucial nowadays. And 10th, I'll go special teams, even though special teams should be higher, but out of priority, I'd probably put them 10th. Or
yeah, no disrespect to special teams. I know field goals are huge. I obviously know that. It's just
like Valdez said, those are like sure points if you got a guy that's never going to miss a field goal.
So for me, I have O-line, D-line, cornerbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, linebackers, safeties, running backs, special teams. Am I missing it? I have 9. Is there 10?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Obviously,
there's 9.
Okay. Yeah, so that
was perfect. I hopefully we answered that for you, Orange Crusher. Let us know what you think, by the way. If you guys want, comment in the sections. What are the most important positions in leading to a team's success? Everything except for quarterbacks. Make sure you remember that, guys.
I also feel like I should have moved special teams up a little bit because now I think about Trust Way and how important field position is.
Field position is a very, very important thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's huge. Now, let's go to Andy for our next question in the UK. Oi! The DC Tweet Team podcast. He wants to know, are you a socks and sandals group or sandals and socks?
Oh, let's see. Me and Kyle are dads, so I mean, you kind of almost
socks or sandals or socks and sandals.
You kind of always rock socks and sandals when you're a dad. You know, that's like you take out the trash in them when you're just wearing your socks and you just slide them on. You just wear slides or something. Yeah. But usually I hate that, but just as a dad, it's more comfortable.
Look, like I don't wear like the like Egyptian sandals. Like I don't wear like the nerdy white guy sandals. You know, the one with the straps on them with like the Velcro. Like,
the grandfather ones.
Right. Yeah. I don't wear those, but I have like, you know, your Nike slides. And whenever I wear my Nike slides, I always have socks on. Usually like black socks, ankle high socks. I like that. I don't like walking out barefoot because trust me, man, nobody wants to see my feet.
Yeah. Gross feet.
Yeah, you know, when you I'm definitely a socks and sandals guy. I mean, like I said, I've always grew up playing sports and rocking cleats all day, and you got to take your cleats off. I got socks on. I got to throw the sandals on, get your feet comfortable, nice and, you know, soft cushion. So I definitely like a nice, plus, I mean, socks and sandals is just like the ultimate comfortable thing to wear, you know what I'm saying? So nice pair of socks and Nike slides for me.
Yeah. I will say though, if you see somebody wearing socks and sandals like to the beach, then you should just go slap them and like stab their beach ball or something because who wears socks to the beach? Right. Besides Hall when he jumps into the water sometimes and he wears
with his phone in it.
Yeah, and his money and
that's me.
Now to wrap this up, let's go to our last question from our guy Scott Hartley in the UK as well. Oi! Thank you, Scott. We're thinking of you, brother. He wants to know, he loves to see an underdog perform. It's the Bubble Guys' turn in the preseason. Who do you see showing out versus the Ravens, Reed?
I really hope that Antonio Gandy Golden can show out. I think we liked him coming out. He offers so much with his size that I really think he could contribute, and it would be very interesting, and I would kind of be disappointed if he doesn't make it. But Samus Reyes as well, I think. I just want to see him do something because it's so hard for him.
I don't think he'll play.
I know he probably won't, but I would love to see Samus Reyes do something amazing.
And the reason why I don't think Samus is going to play in this game because he loses that injury designation if he plays, and he won't be able to go on PUP, and that's something Michael Phillips
kind of have to have him on there,
right? Michael Phillips of Richmond Times-Dispatch told us that a couple weeks ago about that was their thought process with Samus, and we're kind of seeing that come to fruition. For me, who can I see ball? I would say probably Bates or Ricky Seals-Jones having a big game. You heard Valdez earlier talk about how good that secondary is playing right now, lights out. So when you're talking about the depth guys and stuff, their linebackers are a little bit shy, not as good as the rest of their defense. So I could definitely see the tight ends having a great game because the wide receivers are having difficulty create separation.
Yeah, I can never think of his name on top of my head. The cornerback that's been like balling out.
Torrey McTyer.
Torrey McTyer. I knew it was something. Torrey something. Yeah, Torrey McTyer. I think
put some respect on his name.
Oh, I'm about to.
Is you finished or is y'all done?
No, I think Torrey McTyer has been, like I said, he's always like, he was that camp show out guy. He was like the fan favorite that showed out in the preseason and in training camp. So I definitely think he did enough to at least make the practice squad. And I definitely think that he's a guy that kind of in that Jeremy Reeves kind of mode where I think coach told him, like, keep doing your thing, keep making plays, and you might get your time to shine. And I think if he does, he'll take full advantage of it.
I'm pretty sure too. It's crazy I'm pretty sure this is his like 5th year in the league right now, Torrey McTyer, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah. This is
like, I guess
late bloomer, man. Late bloomer. And he also, his name sounds like something that was made up in Madden.
Yeah,
it does.
That's hilarious. Now, our last question from Scott is, which rookie prospect are you most excited to see week 1 versus the Chargers, Hall?
I will go, because I'm an offensive guy, I got to go De'Ami Brown. I think that he's going to add that element to this offense that we've been missing since the Pierre and Deshaun Jackson days, and that's the deep threat that can shred. Oh, we got Terry that can, like, take it deep. But that actual, like, legit, like, deep threat that can average, like, 15, 18, 20 yards a catch this year.
Yeah, average
like
over
Deshaun Jackson did for us
in college. Right.
Yeah, so definitely De'Ami Brown. I want to see what he can do, and I want to see Scott Turner kind of slowly but surely unlock that dude.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Rookie prospect, I'm going to say for week 1, because I think I know where Reed is going to go with this, I'm going to say Benjamin St-Juste, given the fact of Mike Williams being there, with Keenan Allen being there as well, a very pass-heavy arsenal that they have with the Chargers. I'm concerned about that passing attack, and if Benjamin St-Juste can play in that game, which we've seen, I think he is in the starting lineup from what I have personally seen. I'd be surprised if he's not. He's going to have a big role on Sundays in that week 1 matchup. We're going to need some help on the outside. I'm really excited to see how Benjamin St-Juste responds.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited to see both of those guys as well. Also, I wanted originally, like, if you were to have asked me this a month ago, I would have said Sam Cosmi.
I thought you were going to go Sam Cosmi. I was going to say that.
No, well, I mean, I do, like, I want to, but I also Jamin Davis. I mean, we still got to see some more from him, and he's our 1st-round pick, and the dude offers so much with his athleticism and what he can do. And people have been so down on him. I just want him to come out and have a huge game, and he's going to need to really for this defense to really take that next step and be dominant.
I will say, against Austin Eckler, Jared Cook, and like you said, those type of receivers they have running across those middles and those crossing routes.
Yeah,
it's definitely we're gonna see where Jamin Davis is at in his development as far as where he's at in his football knowledge and where he can go.
Yeah.
One thing I will say from the replay against the Bengals, I did not like his angles that he was taking. Cole Holcomb looks like he's going to have a big year. The way that he was attacking line of scrimmage. Jamin is still seeming a little bit hesitant. Didn't see him as aggressive and hard-nosed. I'm still waiting for that to come out of him. I think he's still trying to find his place on the football field psychologically, but he'll get there. I'm pretty sure of it, to be honest. Now, thank you, everyone, for joining us. I can't thank you guys enough. I'm sorry about the questions on Tuesday, everybody. I'm sorry, okay? I messed up.
What are you going to do?
Sorry, Scott. Thank you to Andy for asking your question for tonight's show. Thank you to Valdez for stopping by for us. Thank you to Wahoo Dad, Orange Crush 92, Aki G. You guys are the absolute best. I cannot thank you enough. We will see you guys on Tuesday. And but before I go, just wanted to say, Tamara Hemingway, Jesse's boy, Bigfoot, got released by the Washington football team today. They re-signed Jordan Toth, I think his name is, which is a center. One of the backup centers. So they released Hemingway, which I think we all kind of saw that coming, even though 2 weeks ago he was considered the number 2 tight end on the roster. Crazy enough.
Hey, man, he's got a future at something else. We all know that.
All right, and I just want to make another reminder, everyone. We will be shifting to Mondays and Fridays come September. First game of the season, that's what we're going to be doing, switching to Mondays and Fridays. We're going to continuously say this throughout the next couple weeks, but just want to make sure you guys know that, yes, that is happening. Just get ready.
September's next week, so
yeah, I know. I always blank out with dates, dude. I always think it's
September is next week, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like 2 weeks away from the kickoff.
Yes, it is. All right, everybody. I'm Kyle.
Paul.
I'm Chris Hansen. Why don't you come take a seat?
All right, everybody. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Washington football. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get notified when anything new is uploaded to the channel. Also, we just launched theburgundyzone.com. You can go there and find all of our latest news, articles, and the latest episodes that are uploaded. Again, we also have the Discord chat server, where all of our VIP folks are in, like Andy Burrows, Scott Hartley, Sergio Martin is in there as well. Don't miss out on the Discord chat server. Go and check that out. Until next time, everybody, Washington football. Woo!